Why don't you tell us, what was the first time that anybody thought about Miracle Camp before it was even called Miracle Camp? I mean, how did that all come about?
Back in the mid-60s, Viola from Salem's church had given $8,000 to the denomination to be used for youth ministry. At the same time, a group of men from the denomination had been looking for a camp. And they had visited many camps, and they finally came upon a camp in Lawton, Michigan, owned by the Brothers of Notre Dame.
And we went up, and it was a cold day in February, about 6 inches of slushy snow. And we come to this place, and our camp that hadn't had nobody in for 10 years can be pretty desolate at that time of the year. And we went there to look at this camp, and we left that day, and on the way home, while we all talked about it, we said, it just seems impossible, it can't be done. Where would we start? And I say, let's do it. Because God will see us through it with His will.
A bunch of men and my Uncle Ralph took off to Miracle Camp to the auction. They was going down the turnpike. Next thing I know, a couple of men said, Ralph, you're going a little fast. He says, no, he says, I might be late. The auction's coming up, and if we miss the auction, we can't buy it, and we're buying camp. And everybody's kind of wondering, how much are we gonna bid? Ralph says it doesn't matter. This is what God wants.
And even as in disrepair as it was the place for us to buy. And they needed, for a down payment, $8,000.
But, one thing after the other, we'd come up and it just seemed like we'd come to a place where we had a dead end. There was no way around it. The Lord led us around it. And it broke my heart. It was a humbling experience for me. And because I knew the Lord was working, it was the Lord doing this. And so I felt confident in it because I was sure the Lord was leading us.
And it's amazing that one lady from a church in Illinois wanted to do something for our denomination and youth ministry. And we have Miracle Camp, and here we are still having miracles happen.
As you look back, there were the struggles and there were the miracles. I think it's pretty obvious that it brings joy to you. I mean, as you think now, the number of kids that are blessed by Miracle Camp every year.
That have met the Lord.
Yeah, isn't that amazing?
To me it is.
Yeah.
There's nothing in our whole conference that brought more kids to the Lord than Miracle Camp.
Yeah.
And it's been just that ever since we've had it.
Yeah.
And it is to this day. The way it turned out isn't the way we might have planned, but the Lord had another plan.
Yeah.
And that was right. I guess the biggest part that we have to learn is that the Lord, if we go ahead and introduce our plan and have faith to believe the Lord's with us, why, the Lord will see us through if it's His will.
When I came back in 2007, he would name off the years and he'd say how many kids got saved. So that was a big deal for him.
One of the things that I think is so unique about camp and allowing it to grow the next 60 years is this generational impact that it's had in our life, particularly. I think of my dad sitting on the camp board at one point and being one of the businessmen that were involved in purchasing camp and helping to make that decision to get Miracle Camp on Bankston Lake. And then for my involvement, and then for my kids to be involved, my grandkids to be involved, and I just wait with anticipation to see what God's going to do as my oldest granddaughter is 12 years old. And what does the next 12 years look like when she's 24? Will she have the opportunity to work at camp as a camp counselor, as camp aide, whatever that role might be? I can see her there serving and working alongside and ministering to kids, and as well as just serving there at camp.
As we reflect on these 60 years of ministry that have gone out at Miracle Camp, I think of just the small window that we have been a part of and how much has gone into making Miracle Camp into what it is today. I mean, I especially think of those 7 or 8 guys from my home church in Archbold guys who I'll never really get to know or even say thank you to, but guys who helped cast the vision and sacrifice to like buy this land, and all the men who came after them, the different directors, and all the people who just poured their blood, sweat, tears, and prayers into Miracle Camp.
The buildings have changed, but the basic premise of who we are and what we stand for has always remained. Changing lives for Jesus, whether it's kids or adults, providing an opportunity of safe place for kids to hear, people to hear, not only from FEC churches, but the churches that we run out to, our run-outs, that they know that they see our staff in action, they see the smiles on their faces, their servant hearts, all pointing to Jesus Christ.
I think about, as I look over my life, I'm 67 now, I think of how God affected my life through camp, through winter retreats, through summer camps, and then as my parents led me to church and how it guided my whole life.
So for me, Miracle Camp has been a place where God, through His Spirit, nabs you, touches you, and begins to impact your life. And that's what He did for me.
But God is faithful. I've learned that over the years. God is faithful. And He provides. When we go to Him, He provides.
Like, there are so many things that God has used in our life, like our parents, faithful leaders at our churches, so many ways that God teaches us, but we would both say Miracle Camp will always hold a special place in our heart for how God has used these grounds, the people here, to teach us how to teach the gospel, teach us how to be better parents, how to be faithful servants in our church. We'll be forever grateful for the legacy of Miracle Camp in our lives.
It changed our lives.